Welcome back, biologists. So, we are in the middle of chapter 33. We are going through different invertebrate types of organisms. We're in the middle of our Lophotrochozoan clade. We have just talked about our platyhelminths, or our flatworms, and our rotifers. And we are going to talk about two more phyla of Lophotrochozoans in this video, the mollusks and the annelids. The mollusks are where it starts to get really interesting. There are 4 different classes of mollusks, and I do want you to be able to list these 4 and give me examples of these 4. So the polyplacophora are the chitons. The gastropods are the snails and slugs. The bivalves, these have 2 shells, that bivalve would be clams, oysters, things like that. And the cephalopods we are squids, octopi, cuttlefish, and chambered nautilus. So these are things that start to be really smart, have good brains. That's what that cephalopod means. Mostly these are marine animals. You're going to find them mainly in the ocean and seas, although some of them are available in freshwater. And snails and slugs can be found on land. That's what terrestrial means. They can be found on land. These animals mainly have soft bodies, but they are protected by a calcium carbonate shell. So if you think of a chiton or a slug or an oyster, these are animals that have a shell around them. A mollusk has 3 parts of their body plan. One is a muscular foot that helps it attach, helps it move. A visceral mass, which is all of this kind of its organs parts, and the mantle. Here it's shown in the blue. The mantle is often filled with water. And then they often also have a strap-like radula here. And that radula can kind of scrape up food to help it feed. Some of our mollusks have separate male and female, separate sexes. Some of them are hermaphrodites. They are both male and female. And they have gonads within their visceral mass. Here it's shown in this area here. Many of them have a ciliated larval stage that has a trochophore on it, which is how they are fit into the Lophotrochozoan clade. So we're going to go through these 4 different types of mollusks that we have. First are our polyplacophora. That is includes the chitons, and this is what chitons look like. You may have seen them before, you may not have. So they are oval shaped, they're marine, they're found in the ocean, and they have these 8 dorsal plates. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is their armor. They do have a foot that helps them section and grip onto rocks, and they do have a radula that helps scrape the algae off the rock surface. If you need to go back to this stage to refer to what the foot and the radula are. Next are gastropods. So that gastro, I think of eating. Sometimes people eat these. May not be what they're named after, but that's how I think of them. About 75% of all extant mollusks are gastropods. This word extant we've used a few times, but just to review, that means the opposite of extinct, species that are still on Earth. Gastropods have many marine, many freshwater, and terrestrial species. They have this slow rippling motion that allows them to move using their feet or sometimes cilia. Mostly they will have a single spiraled shell. The shell helps protect them from injury. So something tries to get it, it hits the shell instead of being able to capture the slug. It also helps protect them from dehydration, as the water is not going to evaporate through the shell, and from predation. And gastropods mostly are herbivores. They're going to scrape algae or plants using their modified radula. Then our bivalves. These are things with 2 shells. It includes clams, oysters, mussels, scallops. They are aquatic. Their shell is divided into 2 halves that are connected by these adductor muscles. Some of them have eyes and sensory tentacles. You can see these tentacles along the edges of their mantle. Their mantle cavity has gills that lets them feed and exchange gas. For the most part, bivalves are sedentary. They mainly don't move, although some of them may have some limited mobility. Then our cephalopods. Cephalopods are active marine predators. They have a beak-like jaw and tentacles. They are able to immobilize prey with poison in their saliva. And they have a foot that is modified into an excurrent siphon that actually helps them push the water, blow the water to be able to move. And that foot is also modified into part of their tentacles. You can see they don't have a shell here, and many of them, their shell is reduced and internal or missing. The chambered nautilus does still have a shell, though. It still has its full shell. I'm actually going to pause and find a video because these are fascinating animals. Okay, so this is going to show an octopus using its siphon, it says. See that? Let's look at here.
Spencer, this ranch and your legacy are in peril. You must come.
Here's our octopus. So octopi are really intelligent animals. Like, they can figure out how to go through a lot of mazes. They, if you think of like Finding Dory, how there's an octopus that escapes from the tank and gets out of the aquarium, like in real life they can escape from captivity and get out to where they want to go. They're super intelligent animals. Okay, so a snail, a clam, and an octopus all share what features? A mantle, a radula, gills, distinct cephalization. Okay, and then our last phyla that we're looking at within our Lophotrochozoans are the annelids. Annelids are segmented worms, so something like an earthworm would be in this category. These are coelomates, so where the flatworms are flat, segmented worms are round because they have a full coelom. Their body is composed of a series of fused rings. So if you think of that earthworm has a series of rings. There's traditionally 3 clades of these annelids: the sea worms, the earthworms, and the leeches. But new data using molecular analysis, so analyzing DNA, suggests we have 2 clades, the Errantia and the Sedentaria. So that's how we're going to study them, by these 2 clades. The Errantia, so I think of something that's errant, is like moving away. Errantia are mainly mobile. They're able to move. They're mainly marine predators or grazers. They do have these parapodia on each body segment. See how they have these little paddle-like things on them? However, these aren't the only organisms that have parapodia. So that doesn't, just because something has a parapod doesn't mean that it belongs to this clade. But each of these parapodia do have chitae on them, which are bristles made of chitin. Then sedentary, so someone who's sedentary doesn't move around a lot. So sedentaria tend to be less mobile. Something like this Christmas tree worm. Some of them burrow into substrates. Some live in protective tubes. Tube dwellers often have these kind of elaborate gills, tentacles for feeding. Sedentaria also includes leeches and earthworms, which of course are able to move. Let's look at this cute picture. This is a nudibranch. All these animals that live in the water that we don't really see in real life. Like, these just are so unique to me. Okay. And then here's an earthworm. And see how you can see these little segments it's got that we were talking about? setae there that are helping it be able to grip and move. And then leeches. Leeches are mainly found in fresh water. Some of them can be found in salt water or on land. A lot of them are predators of invertebrates and parasites that suck blood. They're able to slit the skin of the host that they're trying to get their blood from, and they secrete an anesthetic. So you're not aware that they're sitting there biting you because that anesthetic is numbing you so you don't detect them. So they're able to stay there and keep sucking your blood. They also secrete a chemical called hirudin, which they use to stop blood from coagulating, which is important to keep the blood flowing so they can drink it. In medicine, though, it's also used as a blood thinner for people who may have had like heart attacks or other problems with their blood coagulating. It can be used as a medicine. Okay, so annelid anatomy can be described as a tube within a tube. I want you to think in terms of like the tube shape of the worm and also the tube shape of the coelom, the tube shape of their digestive tract. So how does that come out to be a tube within a tube? Okay, our next video we're going to pick up with our ecdysozoans. This includes our nematodes and our arthropods. So lots of animals we're going to talk about here. Then we've got our deuterostomes, our starfish, and that will be the end of this chapter. So you're more than halfway through, so keep going. You're getting there. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will talk to you later. Bye.